Let's just stay with energy and have a look at solar energy as well in a bit more detail. We've got off-grid home systems now bringing power to hundreds of people in developing countries. Chinese manufacturers there also playing a role. Let's get over to Washington and join Riccardo Puliti, World Bank Senior Director and Head of Energy and Extractives. It's a huge opportunity, isn't it, Riccardo?
It is a massive opportunity. Good morning, first of all. I would say if you think that there are 1 billion people, or more than 1 billion people all around the world with no access to electricity, mainly in Africa or South Asia. It's a massive opportunity. It's a market which is maturing very quick. And you see it from the fact that you can see venture capital getting in. You can see that the technology is proven. You see big giant, big company, big multinational like EDF getting in. It's a big market. It's getting mature. So certainly it's an opportunity.
Well, absolutely. And where are you seeing this as well in particular? And, things like, does the World Bank see off-grid patterns like this in places like India and Indonesia as being viable in the longer term? Or is it just a transitory move before traditional sources of electricity, also coming from solar and other green sources, actually come into play?
No, I would say that we see it as a long-term play in countries like Bangladesh, in countries like India, in the future Indonesia and Pakistan. We think that there is a very important complementarity, actually, between off-grid and on-grid. They are not mutually exclusive of one another. They are just to be integrated better. Certainly in large cities, large urban areas, on-grid is the normal option, and there we will see more of a mix of renewables, of gas, and very integrated energy system. Off-grid, what we see are huge opportunity to have mini-grids, nano-grids, medium grids, but to get access to all the population that doesn't have it. And I don't mean primary access like the light for a few hours at night. I mean real access with all appliances and so on and so forth. The two systems are complementary.
What about financing? Because clearly the World Bank has a financing arm for infrastructure like this. Is this something that's potentially of interest, or is it really the financing that's still going to continue going into more of the utility scale projects?
Very good question. No, this is a real opportunity that we've been financing, I have to say, for the last 5 or 6 years. It's not something that comes out now. We certainly continue doing traditional financing. We certainly continue taking care of the shape, for example, the creditworthiness of global utilities, especially in Asia, make sure that they are cost reflective, they're really sustainable. We still invest on the grid, but I have to say the share of investment off grid is very big. And actually here at the World Bank, it's around 50-50 at this moment in generation of power. So you can see it's a big deal. I would like to say not only we finance it, we also work with policy making in order to make this kind of investment attractive for the private sector, which is, I think,
Yeah, I'm just wondering, in order to scale up, for wider adoption, are you really looking at the necessity of storage, of battery storage, solar storage?
Yes, we do. I mean, I have to say we try to really keep up with technology. We try to make sure that the costs of batteries are such that they make the whole system attractive. We do that. We try to keep up with technology. And as I was saying, it is equally important. We try to keep up with policy making. We wouldn't like that new technologies don't have real access to the market because policy making is too traditionalist or is not innovative enough.
Riccardo, we've always had traditional energy companies, multinationals here, get into this space of off-grid solar. They, of course, could play a very important role. But where do you step in as the World Bank? What are the lacunas, the holes or the gaps that they may well be leaving?
Yeah, first of all, I have to say the gaps are of two kinds. The most important gaps are gaps of regulation, i.e. a kind of price of tariffs that make the investment in off-grid not very attractive. So you don't have for big companies the opportunity to go there the margins are too low. They're good for local companies, but not for big multinational that actually would accelerate the penetration rate. We also see a problem of payments. That's where we have worked, for example, in Kenya, in order to have mobile payments for off-grid services. It's important that technologies for payments, technologies for energy are combined together in order to make that kind of bulk that make the whole sector interesting for large companies as well.
Riccardo, on the one hand, we have prices, the costs of these projects, which used to be prohibitive, coming down and continuing to go down. Now, that's a good thing, but the other thing, it can be a bad thing because it may mean that people delay purchasing and investing because they can get it cheaper in the future. Do you see any evidence of that happening?
Yes, I do. I have to say it is a little bit a kind of normal behavior. People do read newspapers, people are connected, they see messages of prices going down, so they may delay that. But I have to say, this is really, off-grid is really a market for people who need energy. So there is just a limitation for how much they're going to wait. In the reality, they are demanding for energy, they are demanding for secure energy, affordable. So, I have to say the waiting game is not that important.